Hey friends, and welcome to the Mom Sweat Sanity Podcast. I'm Brittany, accountability coach for women who know they're made for more. This is a space where ambition meets real life, where we talk fitness, family, personal growth, leadership, and all the what the hell is happening right now moments in between. Around here, we don't chase perfection. We build momentum. We push comfort zones, ask better questions, and take real action on the goals that matter most. Each week, you'll hear honest conversations, powerful guests, and grounded reminders that you don't have to choose between showing up for your life and going after your potential. So whether you're walking, sweating, driving, or hiding in your car for 5 quiet minutes, you're in the right place. This is your permission to stop playing small in your own life. Let's get into it. Okay, friends. Well, today I'm here with Jess. So we're going to dive into all things her behind Design Crew and then what Design Crew is all about and everything. I think everyone is going to really love this conversation for the marketing, for putting ourselves out there, for what is working right now, what's not. So thank you so much for being here.
I am so excited to be here and have this conversation with you, Brittany, and just love your energy. So I'm excited to be here and be with all your listeners.
Thank you. Yeah. So I think before we get into full-on marketing mode here, who is Jess and then where has Design Crew really come from?
I love it. Okay, so origin story, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Many moons ago, I've been doing this for over 15 years. Can you believe? Before Instagram was even a thing. I had what I called my zero moment. I was working a job that I did not see a future in, and I decided I'm going to jump ship. And if anyone who knows me knows, I'm a very practical, planned out kind of person. And for me to just be like, I'm going to quit my job is not a thing that I would do. But I knew that's what I needed to do. And I call it my zero moment because I had zero funds, zero clients, and zero kind of idea of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to build. And so what happened was I decided I'll take on a couple of freelance clients because I had gotten a degree in marketing and graphic design. And I took on one client, and then that client referred me to another client, and that client referred me to another client. And it just kind of started snowballing, and basically Design Crew was born. And I hustled. I loved it. I still love it. And I was just learning and doing all the things I knew to do to grow my business and doing something that I really loved and enjoyed doing, which was marketing and graphic design at the time. We kind of more towards marketing now. Obviously, the design piece is still included. And it really kind of blossomed from there. And a lot of any other entrepreneurs listening knows it's a lot of trial and tribulation. You come up against your own self and roadblocks and you work them through. And I love the saying, entrepreneurialism is the best self-help path you can take. And
absolutely.
So you really learn. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about the world and how to navigate. So that's kind of the origin story of Design Crew. And then I feel I started when I was 25. I just gave away my age, but here we are. And it's I really grew up learning how to be a businesswoman in a modern time.
Well, even the first step into it being your ground zero, leaving everything and just betting on yourself is something that I think entrepreneurs really do every day. We continuously have to bet on ourselves, right?
Constantly.
And what an analogy for you to even just start your business on.
Yeah, exactly. And it really is. There's a constant reinvention of not only the offers and the things you do in your business, but of self.
Yeah.
I think I'm a spiritual person. I think that is just, I love it. So of course I became an entrepreneur because then I get to do it even in my work.
Yeah. Were you always creative, leaving whatever job was before? Because I feel marketing is a creative space.
For sure. Yes, I think so. I think I've always been entrepreneurial minded. When I was a little girl, my brother played baseball and he would have games every single weekend. And of course I would go, and I started making these little gifts and stationery type kits and things like that. And I would try and sell them at his baseball game. So it's been like long rooted inside of me to have kind of a creative spirit. I was always into scrapbooking and painting and coloring. Like anytime I would go to a stationery store, my eyes would just like light up. I loved seeing all the textures and the colors and the to me, it was always opportunity. There was always like a possibility to create something there. And so, yeah, I feel like I've always been that way. I come from very creative parents. My mom was an interior designer. My dad was an architect. So it's kind of in the blood.
Totally. I feel like when we look back at our upbringings and the different careers and whatnot that you step through, and then you look back as to where you are now to those, you're like, oh, okay, it all makes sense now why I had to walk through that all.
Exactly. I see the through line.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I know with Design Crew, you talk about aligned marketing, but what does that actually mean beyond, the buzzword? I feel like there's so many buzzwords out there these days, alignment being one, it seems like. But I truly believe in the word alignment. So I'm really curious on, what aligned marketing is.
I love it. I love that you're asking this question. For me, and, kind of what I educate my clients on, it's like it becomes a perfect dance between what really lights you up and fuels you and what your creative work is in the world, or, the impact you want to have or the service you want to provide and create. And then also what, your ideal client really needs and wants, and what's going to solve their problem or create less of a challenging environment for them. And when you can marry those two, that's where I feel like businesses really take off, where it's not like you're just fulfilling on a need and it has no meaning to you whatsoever. And I think as women, I think it's important to have that, satisfy that part of you that's like, I want to help, I want to give, and it means something to me. And then again, married with like, what do people actually want and need to help solve their problem? And to me, that's aligned marketing. That's one facet of it. Another facet is like being authentic and true. I know another buzzword, authentic, but like being really true to who you are, what you believe. What I see a lot of the time is entrepreneurs or founders or creators will continuously like ride the middle and I don't mean you need to be controversial or political or anything like that, but they don't take a stand for what they really believe, or they think they need to sound super in line and professional. And sometimes that's like not who you really are. Maybe you're like a total jokester and you like this or that, and integrating that into your marketing and if you're a personal brand, like, there's different things for different B2B, B2C, product versus service based. But if you're the personal brand, or you're the person providing the face of the brand or providing the service, like I really think it's important to integrate like who you are and what you would actually say if it was just you and the client one-on-one, or even you and a friend one-on-one, and infuse that into your content. Because people work with people they know, like, and trust. I'm sure we've all heard that before. And it's like, if you're not really showing yourself, it's really hard for people to like grab onto it, especially now, because there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of people with, that are putting stuff out there. And so to cut through that, I think you really have to hold true to who you are, what you believe, your specific special sauce.
I couldn't agree more. I feel like too, there's the level of, personal and professional brand, but at the end of the day, people buy from people, as you said, right? And so your brand actually becomes you, and people, that's where the trust factor really does reside, in the person behind that. So I love that. What do you think is the difference between someone just posting content versus someone actually building their business?
So new, like both business owners, but someone's just posting and then someone's actually
I think just, there's so many people on social for social, or nowadays more just for scrolling, right? And so what's the point in posting? What's the difference between someone posting just content versus someone actually trying to build their business?
Yeah, I would say like we're in a real-time kind of society right now, and people want to know what Brittany's doing literally like right now, this morning or this afternoon or whenever you're listening to this. And it's social media and posting and content is such an opportunity. I always say, like, you used to have to purchase a radio spot or, get a billboard or print in a magazine or a newspaper. And those things were really expensive. And now at your leisure, you can put something on your phone, whatever's top of mind for you, or an experience you just had either for yourself or with a client or anything like that, and really share what's happening in real time. And so just like posting for posting's sake, I don't want to get woo, but there's like an energy behind that that's like kind of, I'll just say it, boring or a bit of a flat line versus, hey man, like, we're in this together and here's what's happening. And I thought this was so valuable. I want you to know it too. And that's the social aspect of it. Like, I learned this thing. Hey girl, let me tell you about it, so it's not gatekeeping. I hate that word so much, but you're like, okay, let's have real conversations.
Yeah. Like informed content, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if I may like expand on this even more, it's like, it's hard because online or social media or any of that can feel a little like esoteric to some degree. Whereas if you think of it, like if you were to walk into a brick and mortar store, no one was there to greet you or tell you or where you couldn't even ask a question, or they couldn't guide you to the section of the store that was going to be useful for you. That would be so bizarre. And so really creating content that's really guiding the viewer and the watcher to where they need to be in order to start a conversation, to, ultimately we're in business. We're not just having hobbies here. We want to sell our services. We want to sell our products. So it's guiding people to, do business with us. And it's never been easier before. And so I know some, myself included, sometimes it's like a hem and a haw, like, oh God, I got to create more content. But it's really to our advantage and such an asset that if we can be grateful for it and actually do it in a strategic way, it's super, super important.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. So how would you blend the strategy, like strategic ways, with kind of that brand? Where do you even begin taking the person into the strategy?
Sure. That's a big question. And I do not think it's a one size fits all, but from like a 30,000 foot perspective is, again, be yourself. People are going to be attracted to you specifically because of the way you talk about it, the stories that you tell, the experience that you have specifically. They're going to resonate to you. Even if, hundreds of thousands of people are talking about the exact same thing, they're going to resonate to you. So make sure you're putting your specific energy out there. That's definitely number one. And I really find like people are like, it's not working. I'm like, well, you're not doing it enough. Like, you need to talk about yourself, which I think is probably the hardest part for a lot of people, is you need to talk. And don't think about it as talking about yourself, but like you're really talking about what you do, what you provide, problems that you solve, how you can help, how you can, I call it, get the person off of island A, which they do not want to be on, and you're the bridge to get them onto island B, the paradise. Like you want to take them to paradise and they just don't know how, or that you even do that. And if you're not talking about it, they're never going to know. And so that messaging piece, that's so key for your brand. And then also for the strategy, it's like number one. And I think if people aren't constantly refining their messaging, then that is like a gold mine that you should really start tapping into and working with someone on, because it's really kind of hard to see if you're in it.
Oh my gosh, I hear you. Yeah, the consistency, but also like, gosh, I know when I'm like, I almost get bored of my own content sometimes, right? In terms of like, I'm talking about this all the time, but I understand it because we are so accustomed to just like scroll, and we need to see things so many times for it to actually land, that in different ways, I guess we're saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. I tell my clients when they're like, I'm bored of saying the same thing, I'm like, good, we're in a good spot. The more bored you are, the more happy I am, because that means you are a broken record. And I mean that in the best way possible. If you're repeating yourself, just think of for any of us who heard jingles on commercials back in the day, it's like, they would say that there used to be a formula. You would have to say the phone number or the call to action, if you will, like at least 3 times. They would stack it at least 3 times. And now our attention span is much shorter. I think they said it's less than a goldfish now. And
my gosh.
so we need to repeat ourselves over and over again. And if you think about it, it's like, sometimes they might not even remember your name. Don't take that personally, but they're like, it's the girl who always has the green background, or, it's the person who always this or that. And that repetition also creates trust psychologically. It's like, oh, I know what I'm going to get. It's that person. She's showing up in the same way and saying the same things. Okay, good. Like there's like a sense of safety that gets created there.
For sure. So you've worked with multi-million-dollar brands. I was looking at all of your stats. What do you find they understand versus the newer entrepreneurs that just don't get it yet?
I love this question. I think there's a couple things. The first thing that came to mind is the clients that I've worked with that are in the more multi-million-dollar space. They 80% of their time is in vision and in content creation, doing the education, kind of being the face of the brand, and also like visioning what the business is and or can be, and really staying privy to like what's changing and moving. So, and I know that's hard for a beginner because they're holding a lot of space for a lot of different tasks, juggling wearing many different hats, etc. But I think that is the very successful brands and entrepreneurs, they've moved themselves into a space where they more time to focus on those things. And they do that through delegation, being in the right environments. Brittany, I know you're an amazing coach. And it's like, if you don't have those mentors in your space to like elevate your level of thinking or seeing opportunities, or even like knowing that you need to delegate this person, certain aspect of your business because you're like, oh, I have to do it all. It's like really letting go of that. I think that's huge. Those are big differentiators, like delegation, environment, and being in the vision. But that, I think you build towards that it takes a little bit of time. But the sooner you can take things off your plate that can easily be delegated, and also that are like, I don't know, if
buy back your time.
Yeah, like not worth your time. Like your time is better spent here and worth more per dollar than you like answering every single email or doing some customer service, or even, editing a video for your social media, which can, if you're still learning the skill sets, could take you hours, and it doesn't need to, so.
Totally. Yeah. They say, like if there's a $50 job that you can be doing and, a $20 job even that someone else can be doing, like use your time wisely there.
Exactly.
Quick pause, and I want to speak directly to you for a second. If you've been listening to this podcast thinking, this hits, but I need support actually applying it, that's exactly why I built the Momentum Collective. It's a coaching space for women who don't want more information. They want clarity, accountability, and real forward movement. Inside, we focus on building momentum in your health, your mindset, your goals, and your life without burning yourself out. If you're ready to stop circling the same goals and start taking consistent action, the Momentum Collective might be exactly what you've been looking for. You can find all the details in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode.
Yeah. What lights you up most about work right now?
I love my clients. What I love the most about what I do is seeing the growth and seeing my clients like really come alive in their visibility. And even if they're already visible, like that gets so refined and like has more bang for the buck, if you will, like each reel or when we put together a really good funnel and it's functioning and working and growing, they're either growing their email list or their audience, like just watching that growth really excites me. That's on the client side. As far as me, it's like I'm constantly innovating. Marketing and business is a constant evolution. I've been through all kinds of seasons, not only personally, but like economies rising and falling, COVID, this, that,
Seriously.
peaks, valleys, all these things. And, we all know AI is like really, it's here, and how to utilize that and learning more about that and implementing it, not only for myself and my business, but also for our clients. And I find all that very fascinating, and it's important not to get stuck
Ugh,
with
right?
It's so important not to get stuck in like, oh, but this is the way I've always done it. Well, there's nothing more constant than change, so you got to be changing with it. Otherwise, you're still on the typewriter when the computer was invented. So it's
Totally.
like we gotta move, and it moves fast. So
And then you become frozen sometimes too, I find, right? Like there's so much to learn. It's like where do I even start?
I think with that, it's like start where you're most interested. Again, like what's gonna help you be more efficient. There's like great tools out there, and that's what I hope to be developing in my business as well. Just like, how can you implement AI in a way that's just gonna make you that much more efficient in your marketing flow?
Yeah. So if someone listening is feeling like, okay, I'm doing the things, I feel like I'm showing up, I'm really being consistent, visible, but like nothing is moving, where do you start first?
To me, that tends to be a messaging problem, and that's where you need to look first. Likely someone's being too vague, or they're talking about, like, if the problems that you solve, say it has 10 steps, they're talking about step 7, 6 or 7 instead of step 1, which is usually when a client or customer will enter the journey with you. And so you kind of have to like really get into who your ideal client is, what they're actually thinking, how they're saying what their problem is. And then so messaging and really knowing that, like I said at the beginning, like constantly refining that. And then I would say two, I always kind of compare it to like working out at the gym because it's easy for us to understand. It's like, oh, I'm, eating kind of right and I'm doing all the things and I'm going to the gym, but then the needle's not moving. So similarly with like your marketing and all your output there, like really track what's going on.
Yeah.
And like if you're posting, say you're posting 5 times a week, and then that week you got 1 follower. Okay, just to make it easy. Well, if you want 100 followers, you have to 100x what you're doing, which I know sounds crazy, but like if you can, we teach our clients like how to do this in an easy and an efficient way. And then also, take a majority of the work off their plate. But like you might need to be doing more. You just don't realize it. And doing more of what works. So you have to really look at the numbers. Like the numbers don't lie. I'm a big proponent of like both energy and intuition, but also like look at the data because it will tell you like, oh, this popped off. Like, let me make another reel about that subject. And your audience will tell you. And if you're not using trial reels, make sure you're using trial reels. Those are helpful too.
Are they to see what do pop into a new niche?
Yeah. So if you're posting to trial reels, that goes not to your followers, but to an audience. And if it does really well, you obviously you'll want to post that to your own account. And then you can also see like what's resonating with people and keep going with that.
Fascinating. I find a lot of things, especially like messaging. Let's go back to that for a second, because it feels like it should be something that's so simple, but then it's so complicated. Like, I feel like we can overcomplicate it.
Yes.
Is it just because we know in our mind what we're wanting or what it should look like, and we're not able to express it in the way that people are hearing it?
Yeah, I think this is where people get stuck in it needs to sound good, and that becomes more important than it than it like saying the thing that it needs to say to grab someone's attention and really speak to where they're at. And I call it the 2 a.m. problem. Like, what are they waking up in a cold sweat over at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. and are like, I just need this thing solved. And I think a lot of people try and make it up in their head or ask ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. And great, these are great tools, but you literally, if you've worked with an ideal client or you even know of a few, like, oh, it might be a friend of a friend, but if I had a client like them, that would be amazing. Interview them and then listen to what they say. Because a lot of people miss that part. Then they like rework it into their own jargon. And it's like, well, you know, someone might be saying, you're like, master your hormones in 30 days or less, which is great. I get it. But maybe they're like, why do I wake up sweaty and hot at 2 a.m. and I'm exhausted the next day, no matter what I do, or I can't lose that like mid belly fat. And now that I'm 40, like what, like, it's so annoying. All I want to do is wear my bikini to spring break. That's what we want to talk about.
Yeah. So we try and make things look pretty or avoid the key words almost that people actually are saying to themselves.
The goal is for someone to write you or voice memo you or just tell you as they're like signing the contract with you, going like, I don't know, it just felt like you were talking directly to me. Like, how are you in my head? Like, that's the goal.
Yeah. So how do you know when it's time to bring in support versus doing it ourselves?
Oh, it's a good. I don't know if everyone would agree with this, but sometimes you got to do it before you're ready. You know,
like anything, I agree with that.
You got to do it before you're like, I'm 100% ready, and I know exactly the list of things I would delegate to this person. Like, no, you got to do it before you're ready. I'll start there. And I would say, like, if you're at the point where there's like exhaustion and you're like, I literally can't hold all of this at once. I really do need the support. And I would say it just depends on how far and how fast you want to go. And like, I feel like delegation is probably one of the more fast track ways to amplify and grow your business, especially if you're working with specialists in certain areas. So if your goal is to be visible and grow an audience on social or grow an email list, like, find someone that's going to specialize that. And then also, we're in a vacuum a lot of the time as entrepreneurs. So get a mentor, get someone who's walked the path before you. Even just a couple steps ahead is going to be so beneficial to you. Cut out so much time. For this one, I've like always had mentors, and I just always saw the importance of it and how, like, if I want to go places, I might as well find someone who's done it before so I can kind of cut out a lot of the mistakes that they had to make in order to know what they know.
Totally. I agree. And as you said at the beginning, the word gatekeeping, but I totally agree with that, right? Like, finding the right ones that are going to be honest and help, because I literally just did a reel on this about like supporting one another.
Yeah.
And when you find the right people that do that, there's enough for all of us. So, you know, why gatekeep that? I feel like that's just like negative energy for the person doing so. You know what I mean? Like,
I do. Yeah. I would say there's no pie. It's not like your slice and Brittany's slice and my, you know, there's no pie. Like, you make your own pie. Everybody gets a pie.
Agree.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you just gotta, you know, but you gotta bake it. You gotta make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to do the work. Absolutely. So I saw you're offering a marketing and flow assessment. So who is this perfect for?
This is perfect for any service-based female entrepreneur who's like either got a funnel in place, or even if you don't, I can see like the forest through the trees for you. And I can either assess your social media presence, or if you do have like a lead magnet email marketing funnel or anything like that, I'll see where the gaps are of like either why it's not converting, or if it is converting and they're not then taking the next step with you. I can usually see where the gaps are. So, and it's usually a couple tweaks, and you can find momentum. So it's perfect for anyone who like wants to make their marketing work better, which I'm pretty sure that's everybody.
Yeah, basically.
Yes.
And you say funnel. So are freebies things that almost everyone should be thinking of or offering?
1000%.
I
Again,
need to be
think of
better
it like, say it again.
I need to be better with that. Like I give away freebies, I think, in terms of things that I like say or content that I post. But yeah, I need to really build my email list.
Yeah. And I just have to, it's the hill I would die on, right? Like you ultimately don't own your audience on any of the social media platforms.
Yep.
And you can, and there's other channels, there's other people, there's a lot of other things happening. If someone hands over their name and email, you get to nurture them so much deeper. And they've taken that much more of an extra step to be in your world. And so it's the ROI on email marketing is not dead. It's very strong. And if you can create an email list and nurture that email list, I just it's the hill I'll die on. I think it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
So
okay, I have a
everyone should
few.
have a lead magnet. Everyone should have a freebie out there.
Okay. I do have them. I just don't even post them. So,
That's the next part. They're like, but no one's on my email list. I'm like, well, you should be talking about it. Again, be boring every single day.
Exactly.
And
be boring.
it's like,
be boring. Be boring. That's our quote
boring.
for this.
It's not boring. It's just boring to us. Remember,
Totally.
they've never heard it. Like, imagine if, like, any business out Apple was like, no, I'm not going to talk about the iPhone. That's just, I've already talked about it. Like, no.
It's so true. You think about anything that you see or you choose to purchase, it's usually because you've seen it so many times. You're like finally like, okay, here we go. This makes sense. And you have to be talked to. So
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, I have a few rapid fire questions for you.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Organic content or paid ads?
Definitely organic first. And then when you find what works organic, then you can convert that into a paid ad.
Okay, I love that. Reels or email marketing?
Girl, that's too hard. They are best friends. I can't put one over the other because Reels will help you grow your email list.
Now, I haven't used this either yet, but is it true now on Insta you can put a link in your reel?
You can.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's available to everyone, but it is an option. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. If you only could use one platform for a year.
One social platform?
Yeah.
Instagram. Still, for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a TikTok girly. I should be, but I'm not.
I'm not either. I feel like, I don't know.
And
some
for
people are so good on it.
My demographic, we're on Instagram more.
Yeah. I think I'm your demographic too. So hi, we're here.
Yeah. And like for all your listeners too, try and pick one platform just to kind of be total mastery on, and then you can branch out.
What makes you immediately stop scrolling?
Funny stuff, cute stuff, and like where I'm like, this person is going to give me a nugget of truth or something real good. So I want to listen. Yeah.
So how do you put the funny stuff into like your business? Is there a tie-in or is it just more showing like that personal brand side of you?
I think it's a little bit both. Like we do a lot of like funny memes.
Yeah.
On our channel where it'll be whatever, a depiction of something and it's funny, or Leonardo DiCaprio doing something funny, and then it's like I relate it back to marketing. So
yeah,
to me that's how I tie in my humor. And then also just again, you can make funny little quips and jokes and your talking head reels and things like that. Or your metaphors can be funny. Like if you like humor and you find things funny, like be funny.
Totally. I think, it breaks everything else that we look at on there all day long too. Yeah. So the monotony of it.
Exactly. And people want to be entertained on social media for sure. So if you can kind of bring that component into it, you don't have to dance, but but just
not the old way of TikTok. That was fun.
You wouldn't want to be monotone. You're going to put your personality into it. And that's good. Totally. That's good. You don't have to be like a comedian, but yeah.
In a word or two, how would you sum up what your brand embodies?
Well, we have some brand values that I've like worked out for Design Crew. And one of them is definitely like fun and play, because business can be hard and it can be isolated. And if we're not having a good time, well, that's not just more no fun. So like fun and play for sure. And then excellence, like bringing the absolute best and totality to the table. Both of those together makes for one, a fun company to run. And then is also my brand. And I want my clients to feel good about what they're doing and how they're working with us too.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, true, right? Just showing up and making people feel that way is so important.
And it's something a robot could never do.
No.
Like the human component, still very important, you guys. So
I feel like people are wanting it more and more.
Yeah.
So
I just like briefly heard Gary Vee recently.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be businesses where you can hire people to go take a walk with you. So like we still need that, obviously, that human component.
Totally. Yeah. So after this conversation, people are going to need to find where you are and how they can work with you. So give us all your details.
Awesome. So definitely go find me on the gram. The handle is Design Crew with a K. So DESIGNKREW. So that's where you can find me on Instagram. And then if you want to head over to our website just to peruse around, it's designcrew.com, also with a K. Our freebies are really easy to find on Instagram, so just click through there. And if you want a marketing assessment that you mentioned earlier, I can only do so many per month. I'm actually all booked out for April, but get on the wait list. So you could just DM me, like, I heard you on Brittany's podcast, I want a marketing assessment, and I will put you on the list. And as soon as I'm like working through like 10 more probably today and tomorrow, I was like the overwhelming response. It was so great. I was so happy, and I'm happy to do that for your audience for sure.
Oh, well, thank you. I need to put myself on the list too, and I'll make sure everything's in the show notes there. So thank you so much for our conversation today. I really appreciate you being here.
So fun, Brittany. Thank you so much for having me. You're amazing. You're a rock star. I just think you're up to such great things. So I'm excited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. You too.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. If today's conversation resonated, then ask yourself what one small action you can take from it. Because momentum isn't built in big, dramatic moments. It's built in a quiet follow-through, the honest choices, and the decision you make when no one's watching. If you loved this episode, the best way to support the show is to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you don't have to choose between showing up for your life and going after your potential. This is your permission to stop playing small. I'll see you next time.